Hey, welcome back. So this is my shop in Phoenix, Arizona. This is where I build projects for me and my family and make videos for you. It's the size of a 2-car garage, and what you're seeing in here is the result of like 17, 18 years of evolution from the time I owned nothing more than a 5-inch sander until now. And so with that said, this isn't an ad for anything. I purchased everything in here. It's just you and me taking a tour of the shop. So when I first moved in 2018, this wall didn't exist, and then there were cabinets that ran down both walls and along the back wall from floor to ceiling. That just wasn't really gonna work for me. So I texted some friends and said, get over here with your hammers, let's take these things out. And they came over, I paid them pizza and beer, and we had a good time tearing those out and just making a nice empty shell for us to work with. And then one of my friends, he goes, hey, you know what I would put right here is a wall. And I thought, that's a good idea because it gives me more space to hang some stuff and store some things. So we knocked that out. Then had to install some electrical, right? I ran a whole bunch down this wall. I've got something like 10 outlets over here, plus the 220 outlet for the table saw. And then I added a couple more outlets on the other wall just to make sure that I had power everywhere I need it. So I recommend you do the same thing when you're setting up your shop, is make sure you got power everywhere. I would probably make the same recommendation about lighting too, which is overdo it if you can. I've installed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 banks of LED lights in here. Really brighten the place up nicely, but it's still not enough. I need more right here. So that's my recommendation, is overdo it if you can. And if you're available, come help me install some right here. You know what's really worth doing is the epoxy coating on concrete floors. So I think it's worth every penny. It helps brighten the place up, plus it's just really easy to keep it clean. Pretty much the hub in any wood shop is at the table saw, right? That's the tool, it takes up the most amount of space, and it's where all the action happens, and in my shop it's no different. So what I chose to buy was a SawStop Professional 3-horsepower saw with a 36-inch fence. So when anyone sets out to buy a table saw, and I was this way too, you agonize over how big should it be and how much power should it have? Should I get a job site saw? Should I get a big cabinet saw? Here's where I ended up with this, was I decided, look, I'm gonna make a 25, 30-year purchase here. That's what I'm gonna do. So I ended up with this configuration. To me, 3 horsepower is plenty for working with hardwoods and sheet goods when you're making furniture, art, and cabinetry. And I chose that 36-inch fence because making a cut any bigger than that is so unusual that it's just not worth giving up all that square footage in a small shop. So if you're gonna get a stationary table saw also, it just makes a lot of sense to build yourself a good outfeed table too. I actually used this setup with the table saw and the outfeed table as my workbench for a long time too. And at that point, it just makes a lot of sense to include something in your outfeed table that lets you clamp and hold down project parts to it so that you can work on them. But you know what? I also use this for a lot of my glue ups. Just about every video that we put out where we're gluing something up, it's happening right there. It's a really handy spot for doing glue ups. So this awkward angle that I got this set at is actually on purpose. I wanted a little more space to walk through right here, plus I wanted more space in the back of the shop for doing assembly work, plus the awkward angle just lets me do nice long rips straight out the door when I need to. And with that said, it is kind of weird, so I'm thinking about making a change by moving the end of the fence all the way up against that wall and really opening up the area. We'll see how that works for a while. So I've really only got 2 big power tools in here, this table saw and a 1300 CFM dust collector. That's a pretty big unit, but it was important to me to help contain the dust and keep this place clean. And also I wanted something that I could eventually one day attach some more tools to, especially something like a planer that produces a lot of chips. So if you don't have a joiner or a planer, something that makes a lot of big chips, you really don't need a dust collector that's this big, but it is really nice to have. And the footprint on this is not much bigger than a smaller one. So a smaller dust collector will save you a few bucks, but it won't really save you much space. Okay, router table. Router table is on wheels, which is obviously really handy. I just made this from Plants and Wood magazine, and I built it out of Baltic birch. The Baltic birch just makes it really hefty and really heavy, and that's a good thing in my opinion, because when you've got that router on, it just creates a lot of vibration. You just don't want the table moving around on. You want that baby to stay put while you're working. The 2 things I really like about the design is the cabinet that holds the router, because that contains most of the dust and the mess. And then I like the drawers that run down the side because we got the router bits stashed right there, wrenches over here, push blocks. Virtually everything I need for the router is all in the router table. It's kind of nice. Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. The router that I've gotten here actually has a lift mechanism built into the base of it. It's kind of neat. So I didn't have to buy a separate router lift and plate to go in the table, because those are what, like $300, $400, $500 or something. Instead, this one's is built right into the router. It's kind of cool. So here's my fleet of small, portable power tools. Got a sander, got a jigsaw, got a router, and this thing called a domino joiner. I really enjoy designing and building projects that have sculpted parts and curved edges. The sander is really great because it's got this grind mode that's just fantastic for shaping. And the jigsaw handles the curved cuts because I don't have a bandsaw. And this domino joiner just makes it nice and fast to cut really strong joints for furniture and cabinetry. It's a lot of money for this tool, but I have not regretted a dime. Now, it took me a long time to cave into the idea of getting a brad nailer and a compressor, but I'm really glad I did because it just makes it so quick and easy to knock things together like, say, drawers. But what I really want to show you is the cabinet that I stuck the compressor in, because compressors are so noisy. So I put it inside a cabinet and then lined the cabinet with sound deadening foam, and I'll tell you, that made a huge difference, and I recommend you do the same thing. Now, all this came slowly over 17, 18 years or so, but it was when I finally had a table saw and a router. That's the point when it really felt like, wow, I can really accomplish some projects with just those two tools. That table was made with basically 4 power tools, right? The table saw, a sander, the planer, and the domino joiner. Basically, the table saw is the required tool there. The other 3 just made it faster and easier to pull off. And to that point, the latest problem around here that I wanted to solve for myself was that I haven't had a really good way of adjusting the thickness of boards or cleaning up like glued up panels. And so I picked up a benchtop planer recently. Now, what might be sticking out to you is that I don't have a miter saw, I don't have a circular saw. It's very true, and they would be really handy to have. But I've got a couple of friends who have them, so I just borrow them from those chumps. My workbench uses the steel leg base system from Craig, and then I've got this solid maple butcher block top. What I like is that it's heavy and it's modular, so it's easy to configure. You can build cabinets, drawers, or shelves for the middle, whatever works for you. But mine's a little on the small side. It's not quite as functional as I want it to be. So here's what I'm thinking. It seems like it would be better if I converted this one deep drawer into 2 shallower ones, give myself some better storage that way. And I'm also going to make this a little bit longer and leave some space under it to park the vacuum. I realize that virtually every time I'm using that vacuum, it's either attached to the sander, the handheld router, the jigsaw, or the domino, and all that work pretty much takes place right here at the workbench. So it just made a lot of sense to me to go, all right, find a way to park it over here so it's not only out of the way, but that it's always right where it needs to be. So here's my setup. It's just a couple of steel racks screwed right to the wall into the studs. I know that a lumber rack system like this isn't for everybody. And in fact, I didn't even start off by buying a lumber rack and then filling it up as I went. Instead, it was really the other way around. I ended up with boards laying around all the time with no real place to put them. And I finally decided I just need a lumber rack to stick them somewhere. This worked for me. Another option though is just to build something that keeps them horizontal, keeps airflow flowing around them, and keeps them off the floor. So there are a couple upgrades around here that I forgot to mention earlier. First is I swapped out the light switch with a motion sensor light switch, and that's because I kept forgetting to turn the light off at night. And it would stay on all night. And it's just a minor thing, but still, there was a nice benefit to that though, is I know that the lights will come on if someone happens to break in here. It's just a comfort to know that would happen. I also installed a Sonos speaker up here. It's because I enjoy tunes and podcasts while I work. There's a little added benefits that, like, if I'm gluing something up or I'm working, right, I realize I'm out of blue tape. I can just go, Alexa, add blue tape to the hardware shopping list.
Blue tape added to hardware.
Thank you. Little benefits like that. It's a little dorky, but whatever. Now remember, this is Phoenix, Arizona. It gets really hot here. So I did two things. I put in a ceiling fan and then I replaced the metal overhead door with a nice insulated one. It gets things really comfortable in here now. All right, looks like we're out of time. I gotta get back to work. I gotta get back to making some hardwood lumber tutorial videos for you. Anyway, that's the shop. Hope you enjoyed this. Just post your comments or your questions below. We'd really love to answer you. With that, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.